inspirational speech. Thank you so much for that. Now moving on to our third speaker, Renu. She is attempting her first icebreaker in leadership development path. So before we go on to introduce Renu, her evaluator to be Vidya Rajgopal to read the objectives of the speech.
Today we have an extravagant number of icebreakers. The purpose statement of Renu's speech is for the member to introduce herself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech.
Thank you so much. So now, Renu is known for her endeavors to create awareness on the usage of plastics and many other social and civic causes through a platform called The Dialogue. Her daughters are grown up and flown the nest. To beat the empty nest syndrome, she's reinventing herself. Her dream is to become a compelling storyteller for all age groups. When asked about financial planning, she has spoiled the sport of my whole theme. She said, like insurance policy, only one, since it's only protection against unseen circumstances and not an investment by itself. The second is investing in properties. And the third is a couple of FDs for emergency funds to maintain as an emergency fund. And gold in the form of biscuits to leverage it as soon as possible. And the fifth one is long-term investment in securities like mutual funds. In her words, all the financial investments are a joint decision taken by her husband and herself. So now let us all welcome Renu Narayan down from the stage.
My name is Renu. I'm not just a name, I'm a story in progress. A rich tapestry of anecdotes by the people I've met, the places I've seen, and the many experiences, both happy and sad. Every story has a beginning and an end. Let me start mine at the very beginning. Once upon a time, 3 little girls were playing in the garden of their grandmother's house. They had come there because their mother was to have a baby. Suddenly they heard the sound of a newborn cry. They ran into the house. As they reached the bedroom door, it opened and the grandmother stepped out, holding a small baby in her arms. "Here's your little sister," she said. And that's how my story began. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. The happiest 4 years of my life is spent in Booth, a sleepy little town in the Nilgiris. I started my schooling there. School was only a small part of my life. I learned more lessons outdoors than inside the classroom. When it was the 4th year of our stay in Kurur, my dad's bank shifted us to this enormous colonial bungalow with a large garden of 2 acres. A house with numerous rooms and a garden to explore, so many trees to climb, was the perfect environment for children to grow up in. When rain kept us indoors, we entertained ourselves with games or immersed ourselves in books. The only gadget we had was an old radio, always tuned into Vivid Bharati. The songs of 50s and 60s filled the house with music. Our garden was a riot of color, with so many flowering plants. Chrysanthemums, carnations, lilies, roses, you name them, we had them. Occupying the pride of place was a huge champak tree, the base of which was always covered with a carpet of rich, fragrant, yellow flowers. Life went on. I think these 4 years in Kurur was the one which planted the seed of my deep, abiding love for nature and the environment firmly into my fertile young mind. The next few chapters in my story were written in Bangalore. Here, schooling became more rigorous and time outdoors became scarce. When I was in the 6th grade, I took part in an essay writing competition. The question was, most adults ask of young children, what would you like to be when you grow up? At that point in time, my ambition was to become a teacher. For all the wrong reasons, mind you. In my mind, teacher was an adult with immense power, wielding a cane with great impunity on been in the receiving end many a time. And when I grew up, I wanted to be at the other end. I don't remember what I wrote in that essay, but I was surprised to hear my voice being called out. I actually received the first prize. And you know what the prize was? It was a book, but not the kind of book I wanted. A cursive handwriting book. I was very disappointed. And that book never saw the light of day. But now looking back, I wish I'd used it. My handwriting was bad then, but today it's so terrible that I wish I'd used it. A doctor's handwriting is considered illegible, but mine is like an encrypted code that even I can't decipher sometimes. Life went on. I finished my schooling and college and came to Chennai. Took up employment, and that's how I learned personal finance. I was not an extravagant spender. A few years down the line, I met my husband through mutual friends, and we got married. Our marriage was extremely stormy at times and calm at others, just like the sea my husband used to sail on. 2 years later, my first daughter was born. When she was 3 and started school, I decided to take time off from work and quit my job. 3 years later, my second daughter came along. I decided not to work at all. I got immersed in becoming a homemaker. Packing lunches, dropping my children to school, picking them up, organizing birthday parties and other activities. That became my routine. Time flew. In 2006, the worst chapter of my story was written. My mother, the strongest influence in my life, suffered a massive stroke and was paralyzed. After 18 months of struggle, she passed away in 2007, leaving a huge vacuum in my life. I was totally in grief, and then followed regrets and loss. Today, I've got over that loss, but I'm still grieving. It's 2018. Life has come a full circle. My daughters are grown up, and I'm no longer the center of their universe. I decided I had to reinvent myself. A casual conversation with a friend sparked a curiosity in me about Toastmasters, and that led me to Bentley, and Bentley's have become a part of my story now. A very powerful pen, far more powerful than mine, has scripted my story, and I'm only living the script as it will be. I don't know when, where, and how my story is going to end, but story abhi baki hai. My life continues. Thank you. Over to you.